The courtroom was quiet but not calm. Papers rustled as lawyers flipped through folders. A chair scraped against the polished floor, its sound sharp in the stillness. A faint cough broke the silence. The smell of old varnish and worn leather drifted in the air, mixing with the dust caught in the light of tall windows. All eyes turned as Officer Daniel Price stood near the witness stand. His arms were folded, his stance wide, impatience written across his face. His jaw tightened every few seconds, his foot tapping against the wooden floor. He carried himself like a man untouchable, a man who believed the room bent to him. At the back, Angela Morris sat quietly. Her hands rested in her lap, fingers lightly brushing the edge of her father's old pen. The faint scent of wood polish clung to the benches, steady and familiar. 47 years old, steady, disciplined, her gaze never wavered. She looked like just another woman observing the hearing, calm and unnoticed. Yet beneath that calm, she carried something no one else in the room could see. Her breathing was even, her shoulders relaxed, but her mind was sharp. Years of experience had trained her to observe, to wait, to measure every movement before acting. To the others in that chamber, she was simply another face. But Angela was more than that, and the weight of her presence would soon be revealed. Then it happened. Daniel's temper boiled over. His voice had already been sharp, cutting at others, but now it snapped. A flash of motion, a sharp crack. His hand struck Angela across the face. The sound echoed through the chamber, bouncing off the high walls. Gasps filled the room. A woman near the front dropped her pen. A man whispered a prayer under his breath. For a moment, silence followed. Stunned, breathless silence. Angela did not crumble. She did not raise her hands to her cheek. Instead, she adjusted her posture, straightened her shoulders, and looked directly into his eyes. Calm, unshaken. Her cheek burned, but her composure never faltered. Daniel's chest rose and fell quickly, his pride swelling as if he had proven something. But what he did not realize was that he had revealed far more about himself than about her. Midway through the room, someone whispered, "Who is she?" The whisper spread like a thread pulling through fabric. Faces turned. Eyes narrowed with curiosity. What Daniel didn't know, what no one yet knew, was that the woman he had just slapped was about to become his new chief. And the question that lingered in every corner of that courtroom was this: what happens when arrogance strikes authority in disguise? Angela Morris lived a life of order. Her mornings began the same way: coffee carefully poured into a porcelain mug, a quiet walk along the same street, then straight to work. She believed in routine. She believed in calm. And she believed in the power of patience. Most people knew her as soft-spoken but firm. She could stop an argument with one steady look, and those who knew her well respected her silence as much as her words. In her home, a small wooden cross sat on the table by the window, polished smooth by years of care. In her bag, she always carried that pen with her father's initials carved into the side. Little reminders of where she came from and of the values she carried with her every day. They grounded her. They reminded her who she was, no matter the storm. That morning in the courthouse, the air was heavy. The smell of old wood mixed with the faint trace of dust in the sunbeams. Lawyers shuffled papers. Shoes tapped against the floor. The slow creak of the ceiling fan groaned above, almost as if warning of what was to come. Angela sat quietly, listening, unnoticed, her calm body language hiding the storm she was prepared to face. Officer Daniel Price was different. He filled the space with his presence, loud even when he didn't speak. He sighed often, crossed his arms tight, tapped his foot impatiently, as if every second of the proceeding was a waste of his time. His eyes narrowed when he looked at people, cold and measuring, as though their worth was his to decide. Angela stayed still. Her hands folded neatly, her shoulders straight. She had faced storms before, and she knew the signs when one was about to break. And something in the room told her this would not end fairly. Daniel's restlessness grew into sharp words. His voice rose, cutting through the courtroom like a blade. He interrupted lawyers mid-sentence, pointed fingers, and dismissed people without a trace of respect. The judge warned him once, then twice. Still, His tone grew sharper, each word soaked in arrogance. Angela noticed the way his jaw tightened, the way his fists opened and closed at his sides. She had seen men like him before, pride too heavy, patience too thin, anger always just a breath away. Then came the moment. A clerk dropped a folder and the sound echoed like thunder. Daniel spun, his anger snapping. His hand lashed out. The slap cracked through the chamber, startling everyone. Angela's head turned from the force, but her body did not yield. Gasps filled the air. A woman near the front covered her mouth with both hands. The judge froze mid-sentence, his gavel suspended in air. The room was shocked into silence. Angela slowly straightened, her calm unbroken. She fixed her gaze on Daniel. Steady. Silent. Her presence spoke louder than any shout could. A murmur moved through the room. Why her? Who is she? The questions rippled, unanswered, and in that pause, tension thickened. Because no one yet knew the truth. No one but Angela. What would you have done? Tell us in the comments. Angela rose, her steps slow, measured. She reached into her bag. Every eye followed her hand, holding their breath. Daniel smirked, thinking he still had control, his arrogance unshaken. But then, in one smooth motion, she lifted the badge. The gold caught the light like fire. The room stilled. Her voice was calm, but it carried to every corner, strong and certain. My name is Angela Morris. I am the incoming chief of police for this department. Silence. Then a wave of whispers, disbelief spreading through the courtroom like fire across dry grass. Daniel's face drained of color. His mouth opened, then closed again. He stepped back, his pride collapsing under the weight of the truth. He had not just struck a woman. He had struck the very authority he thought he commanded. Angela did not shout. She did not show anger. She simply stood, the badge steady in her hand, her eyes never leaving his. If you believe in humanity, share this story with others. The courtroom stayed silent. No one moved. Angela stood tall, the badge shining in her hand. Her voice was calm, steady, clear. Officer Price, she said, you've forgotten what this uniform means. Her words echoed through the room like a hammer striking stone. The judge leaned back slowly. The lawyers lowered their eyes. Every person in that chamber understood the weight of her presence. Daniel's face turned pale. His pride was gone. His anger had no place now. He had struck not just a woman, but the very leader he would soon answer to. Angela did not raise her voice. She did not need to. Her authority filled every corner, quiet but unshakable. She placed the badge back in her bag and sat quietly again, as if nothing more needed to be said. Later, when the hearing ended, whispers followed her out into the hall. Some spoke of shame, others of respect, but everyone knew they had witnessed something unforgettable. For Angela, it was not about revenge. It was about respect, about showing that dignity holds more power than anger. Her calm strength became the lesson of the day. A reminder that true authority is not in the hand that strikes, but in the heart that stands steady. If you want more stories like this, stories of strength, truth, and justice, subscribe and stay with us, and ask yourself this: when arrogance meets hidden authority, who truly holds the power?